Hello, my name is Johnny and I support horror. This week I watched a mind trip of a film with stunning visuals called Possessor. This isn't the type of movie that you just have on in the background while you're on your phone or your laptop. This one deserves your attention, and you'll be glad that you went distraction free by the end of the movie. Like I said, it's a mind trip, no drugs needed, kids. Let's talk about it, horror fam. Possessor is a horror sci-fi thriller written and directed by Brandon Cronenberg. This movie follows Tassia Voss, who is essentially a gun for hire that uses brain implant technology to inhabit other people's bodies. Once she morphs inside their minds, she forces their body to commit assassinations for the benefit of the company. Now, Tassia has a big contract hit coming up. She's hired to go after the CEO of one of the largest companies in the United States. To do this, she must bind with a certain male and use his body as a vessel to carry out this assassination. Problems start to arise, and Tassia starts losing control of the body from all the mental and physical wear of binding with all these other humans. Now she's trapped inside the mind of a man whose identity threatens to just obliterate her own. Boom. Trust me, if that synopsis seems trippy, just wait till you see the movie. And yes, this film is by Brandon Cronenberg. You might recognize that last name because he is the son of famous director-writer David Cronenberg. If you didn't know, David Cronenberg is, I would say, one of the originators of the whole body horror genre. He was one of the first to intertwine the whole technology, morphing the physical with the psychological in film. Some of David's hit films you may be familiar with are like The Fly, Videodrome, and Scanners. As you can see, his son Brandon had some pretty big shoes to fill as a writer and director, but I believe he delivered. He went above and beyond with Possessor, in my opinion anyway. Now, before we get talking about this movie, can you imagine what the holidays are like at the Cronenberg house with Brandon and David? Brandon is like, "Dad, okay, you open your gift next." "I already know what it is, Brandon." "How?" "When you were a child, I planted a chip inside your brain, which then sends a signal to the implanted chip in my brain and tells me everything you're thinking." "I know, Dad, because I MacGyvered a time machine out of a float tank and a car battery. Went back to the day of my birth as my adult self, disguised as a nurse, naturally. And I removed the chip." "But wait, if I removed the chip, how did you?" "Because I saw your future adult self back on the day of your birth, disguised as that nurse. Hideous, by the way. So I went ahead and put the chip back in your baby brain after your future adult self exited the hospital." "That doesn't make any sense. Neither do any of your movies. Happy holidays, son." So yeah, I'm thinking it goes a little something like that at their house, but let's get back on track here. Let's talk about Possessor. The first thing I noticed about this film were the stunning visuals that just set us up for that perfect dreamlike state. The film actually takes place in the past, 2008, but it's an alternate 2008 universe that we're in. At times, it does look like some sort of dystopian future, but like I said, we're in the past, but then again, an alternate universe 2008. It's really cool to see how clever Brandon's lighting choices and the amount of symmetry that he uses in his shots and the locations that he uses to really hit home that this is a unnerving alternate universe, like a techno horror take on Inception or something. And I noticed was something with the sound as well, and it may have been done on purpose, I'm not sure, but every time there's a scene where people are talking in a very quiet room, you can just tell that the gain is turned up quite a bit. You can sort of hear the constant hiss from the gain. Usually in movies, you don't hear that hiss. You know, there's a noise gate to help cut out any unwanted noise. And maybe I'm wrong here, but I think they may have done that on purpose. It would make sense because it's just another element to use to help create that unnatural, dreamlike state. Brandon's use of symmetry really reminded me of how Ari Aster sets up his shots. If you don't know, Ari Aster was the writer and director of both Midsommar and Hereditary. Both Ari and Brandon take the time to set up each individual shot and place objects in the room with purpose. Nothing is wasted, everything has meaning, and I admire that about both directors. And let's talk body horror. You know, it wouldn't be a Cronenberg film without some grotesque body horror. Overall, I would have to say it was pretty brutal, and I don't say this about a lot of movies, but you know, I found some of it to be maybe a little disturbing. Just within a few minutes of the movie opening, we're hit with a grotesque blood spill. The pools of blood they used looked so real too. The thick consistency and the deep red color of the blood was just so natural looking. Let me just say that the body count is not very high in this movie though, but the brutality of the killings is pretty gnarly, and I had fun watching it. It's so messed up, but hey, we all have fun watching killings sometimes, right? They were disturbingly gruesome and very detailed. Again, the killings appeared real, and I think that's why that's where the disturbing part comes in. It's not like in Hatchet where a Victor Crowley, you know, rips someone's head off and there's a fountain of blood. I imagine that a real murder scene kind of looks like the killings that took place in Possessor. Also, the body morphing scenes when Tassia would bind with Colin, who's the male subject, it was like this beautiful, gross, melting mess with cool practical effects. It's it's very strange and visually appealing. The overall performances by Andrea Riseborough and Christopher Abbott were really good. I love how Andrea's character Tassia had this extremely pale, tired, malnourished look. She has done so many of these contracts, binding with a lot of people. You can physically see the toll that it has taken on her body. One cool part of her job that we get to see is she spies on the subject that she's about to bind with. She has to learn how the subject speaks, moves, what he or she likes, dislikes, in order for it to be natural when she binds with it. Tassia is literally taking over their body, going to their place of work, pretending to be them at their job, interacting with the subject's friends. She also has to live and, interact with the subject's significant other and act like everything is completely normal, because if she doesn't, she could possibly blow her cover and everything would go to shit. Christopher Abbott's role as Colin, the subject that Tassia takes over, I believe has a pretty hard acting challenge in this movie. He had to be his character, the physical body, but then he had to also act and think about there was somebody in his mind controlling him throughout the movie. And I saw that all play out on screen. While I was watching the character of Colin, I was also just visually seeing the character of Tassia inside of him, controlling him. So this movie has a few layers to it, kind of like in Inception or even like The Matrix or something. But I think the last 15 minutes of this film, my brain was stretched to the max. It's like this who is who multi-level mishmash, and I know I've used this word a lot in this review, but it was just trippy. I liked the ending because it kind of opens it up to interpretation, and it leaves you feeling a little bit melancholy, but a satisfying melancholy. Now I'm not making any sense. you just have to watch it. I highly recommend you stream this sci-fi thriller horror movie from Brandon Cronenberg, especially if you're into the whole techie, psychological body horror type of films. If you're a David Cronenberg fan, yeah, this is a lock. I think you'll love this one. It's available to stream right now on a number of platforms like Prime Video and Vudu. And I will leave you with that, horror fam. Once again, thank you so much for coming by and watching my review of Possessor. Thanks for watching all my videos. I hope you give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. And if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, I hope you do so right now. And let's be friends to the end, people. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at The Horror Hack. Once again, my name is Johnny. Keep supporting horror, and this has been one hack of a show.